Om. 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 Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Mavit Vishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
ॐ पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्तदामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेक्षिणीम् नमोऽस्तु देव्याश विशालबुद्धे पुल्लारविन्दायतपत्रनेत्र येन त्वया भारततैलपूर्णः प्रज्वालितो ज्ञानमयः प्रदीपः।
Jayashree, you want to do it? Or Geeta? Go ahead, Jayashree.
Okay, yes. Namostute vyasha vishala buddhe पुल्लारविन्दाय तपत्रनेत्रः येन त्वया भारततैलपूर्णः प्रज्वालितो ज्ञानमयप्रदीपः प्रपन्नपारिजाताय स्तोत्रवेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृते नमः।
वसुदेवसुदं देवं कंसचारूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्।
सर्वधर्मान् परित्यज्य मामेकं शरणं व्रज अहं त्वा सर्वपापेभ्यः मोक्षयिष्यामि मा शुचः।
Thank you. So we are doing the 13th chapter. We are in the aspect of values. Wanted to check with all of you. Did you have any kind of reflections on Amanitvam which you want to share, which we finished last week? And as you can see, we are going a little slow on each of these values because I do think there is a tremendous relevance of the 20 values you will see in our practical daily life. And of course, in our spiritual progress, this really is the ladder by which we can actually measure our progress in in our evolution, because we always feel, my god, I'm spending so much of time on spirituality, I'm listening to lectures and I'm reading books. Is there really a change happening in me? And this, I think, this values and practice of this values really gives us that opportunity to see, how well are we doing. So we talked about, so this is the, kind of the pyramid that I really like. We are on this lower level, and today we are going to be, talking more about the next value, which is adhambitvam. So far, we have talked about, now amanitvam and adhambitvam kind of falls between these two things here. We have some very big mosquitoes, by the way. So sorry, mosquito. Um, so being accommodative and this honesty aspect of it, this is where amanitvam and adhambitvam falls, and that's why we are going to go into the second value, which is adhambitvam. So we defined amanitvam as basically self-worth, if you want to use an American, not American, sorry, English term. And this self worth is something where we can be confident about who we are based on where we are in any of these kind of attributes that we talked about, which is, health or wealth, power, beauty, control, position. In everything, I'm actually very comfortable with who I am. And if anyone challenges me, I'm ready to face the challenge with complete equanimity. And that is what amanitvam is. But manitvam or manaha is where that same attribute which defines me, I actually have a little bit of an extra opinion of that within myself. And because I have that opinion of myself, I end up getting either hurt or sometimes elevated to a kind of a illusory level where when somebody praises me, I feel that, oh my God, I must be something more than what I think I am, something like that. So that is manitvam. But self-worth, amanitvam, on the other hand, is being completely comfortable with ourselves. So I just wanted to make sure that that is very clear, you know. So amanitvam is a complete absence at the highest level. Now, at the spiritual level, so what we talked about this was at the practical level. At the spiritual level, it is a complete absence of any conceit which we have. And even if I am confident with what I am, when we said self worth, so self worth is when we are uh, progressing in the world where we have to interact with the world. In there, this aspect of self worth is beautiful way of really practicing. But in spiritual progress, we go to a level where we recognize that any skill or anything what I have is because of a number of people who have come into our lives, along with, of course, our own self effort as well. But the dedication or surrender to a higher power is there because I realize that all these things I've only received, and I'm only an instrument in Bhagwan's hands. So that leads to this complete absence of any conceit. So that is what we said was amanitvam. So it basically, what it does is when I have at the highest level that amanitvam, I'm completely free from any kind of an external validation. I'm completely free of somebody recognizes me or not. I don't care. And I'm completely self satisfied. I'm self fulfilled and I'm happiness. I'm not looking for that happiness from or the dopamine kick, if you want, from somebody else who is telling me that I'm great, but I am just self-fulfilled. I have the happiness within myself. So the desire for others to acknowledge one's greatness, what it does is that is completely eliminated. And why is that desire? Typically it is to, it's something that is self-created where there is a dependence on a lot of these external factors. When I don't get something, it may lead to anger or agitation. So having amanitvam liberates an individual from this dependence. So that's the most powerful aspect of it. And we discussed about this already. And then we discussed about that it can be a big obstacle because I'm constantly now looking for praise. Maybe this is something I don't know, just thought about it, that maybe having this manitvam also leads us to an accumulation factor within ourselves. And this accumulation factor, I call is very addictive. And especially with the way nowadays when I see Facebook or something, the number of people who advertise for, blouse making or saris or, different gadgets, that I think amanitvam leads to that accumulative factor within us. And that can be a big obstacle for us with regard to progress in our life because now you have to worry about at some point on how am I going to get rid of all these stuffs that I'm accumulating. So as simple as this value sounds, amanitvam, but it can be very it can be very destructive actually. So that's what I mean. And we already discussed how, with respect to social media, it really gives you, and this, I want to come back to the social media when we talk about Adambitvam as well. Uh, I think these two values, again, which is at the lower level of this whole progress of this triangle, we are getting more and more and more sucked into it. The more and more I use my phone for texting, the more and more I use my internet or social media, the more and more I think it is leading to development of this manitvam and pretty soon this amanitvam as well. So one may ask, at a higher level, at a spiritual level, why is this amanitvam a problem? Because clearly, for ascending the spiritual ladder, I need to go inwards. And what I mean by going inwards is I need to really reflect a lot. I need to pay attention a lot more. And in all this, if I'm really getting into this world of addiction or accumulation, that can really change my my the way I'm making my decisions. And I lose my discriminative power to realize what my higher goal is. And that is why, when I lose my discriminative power, I start, of course, forgetting Bhagwan for his contribution into my life. I forget about the contributions of my own parents, my family, my friends, my teachers. All this happens, and that, in sense, is an obstacle for uh, our destruction, I would say. So then we discussed about that case study last time. And so this is where we are. Any other thoughts on Amanitvam before we get into Adambitvam? Okay.
Hari Om. Yeah.
Yes, yes, Anand.
Yeah. I think the issue with the amanitvam is the expectation, right? But doing something, then expecting uh, from from the society, from the people,
Mm-hmm.
the so and then
Yes,
or a period it accumulates, and then it causes like viveka, issue, discrimination power. So
correct,
that's
correct.
the thinking. Yeah.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I think it creates that, first, as I put on here, the dependence, but it also creates that expectation from everyone. And if this expectation is not curbed in the beginning of our lives, for all of us who are really listening to all these values at a much later in our lives, uh, we are a little bit unfortunate in the sense we were not exposed to this in the beginning. If we are exposed to these values in the beginning itself, then our expectations on people is much less. And as we grow older, where our discriminatory power becomes lower because of age, then that expectation actually increases like anything, you know. And I've seen this many times, and I know how that expectation creates so much amount of issues in family life. And because our expectation itself is, um, uh, you know, I'm hitting against the manitvam of somebody. I'm expecting something from somebody, and that person probably has a greater expectation from me, um, and that leads to so much of conflict, right? So in that sense, yes, manitvam is, we can say it is an expectation which can lead to a lot more disappointment in everything. Yeah. So now coming to the next value, which is adhambitvam. And adhambitvam, I just want to go back to that thing here, which, oh, I should find a better way to put it earlier. This one here. It lies in somewhere between the two. Honesty is not amanitvam, or yeah. Anybody wants to say something? Okay. So it is somewhere in between being accommodative and honesty, and we'll see how that plays out with the actual value itself. Now, what I've tried to do is, with all this reflections, I'm trying to bring it to both factors. One is, how is this value really something that I can practice today, now? How can I really reflect upon it? How can I make changes into my own personality by knowing that I'm practicing this and the problems because of it, right? So, this is where the second value, which is adambitvam. So, what is adambitvam? Adambitvam, of course, is, if you take the A, it is dambitvam. Now, in manitvam, we have actually some amount of skill, and with that small amount, I blow it up. Okay. And I blow it up within myself. For example, as I said, if I feel, let's say I think, I play flute very well, I think I'm really great as a flutist. That is where the problem comes. And that is manitvam. But adambitvam is actually even worse than that. Okay. Adambitvam is, I don't even know how to play flute, but then I show off that I play flute. So that is what Adambitvam is. And in some sense, Adambitvam actually hits at the physical level. For example, I think I'm beautiful, whereas I'm not beautiful, but I tend to really make myself in such a way that I appear beautiful, and I start to expect even more admiration and everything from people around me. And this is why I said, social media is really a big culprit here. So so this is only in the form of my appearance, and with this appearance where I think I'm really beautiful, now what do? I start to buy dresses after dresses, more expensive dresses, and I become this compulsive shopper, for example, So in this, I am trying to portray myself, which I'm not. Okay. So that, and I'm seeking to become a center of attention, attraction. And in this, I'm fooling my own self. So in a sense, I'm an attention seeker through all these value, through this value of adambitvam. So I'm sorry, of dambitvam. Okay. Dambitvam is basically, I'm a complete attention seeker, for which I'm not. So you see, it is at a much, even a different level, where it comes out of really deep insecurity, for example. And through this deep insecurity, I'm trying to push myself to an extent where I'm trying to portray everything what I'm not. Okay. So that is dambitva. Anything to add to it?
One question. In Manitvam, we portray something which we are already good at it. This one is we portray something which we are not good at it. Am I
We are
right?
not good at it, which we are not at all that.
Okay.
Okay.
First one is we have the talent, showing off the talent. Can we say that?
We have the talent, but we
Showing off or
internally
exaggerating.
no, we have the talent, but internally, I think I am greater than what I am.
Internally.
So it is more of an internal thing. So because I feel internally that I'm greater than what I am, what Anant just mentioned, I have a great expectation from people. Okay.
So there is a difference between expectation from people and internally I feel more talented or whatever.
No, internally I feel that I'm greater, and therefore I have an expectation. Now, if I am confident of who I am, I will not have an expectation from others. Correct?
Okay.
Hari Om, it is
Yes.
almost being dishonest, no?
Yes, and that is why it is dishonest to us. Adambitvam is a lot of dishonesty,
Yes.
and that is why in that thing, Adambitvam says, Adambitvam is being honest with people.
Okay.
So,
Oh, okay. Mhm.
yeah.
Now,
Okay.
So Dambitvam is being extremely dishonest with ourselves. That is true. Whereas Adambitvam is the opposite, which is being completely honest and using this example, what I said about dressing up and showing off on social media and everything. Adambitvam is being extremely simple, not at all wanting to be on social media, okay? And even in terms of dressing or whatever, not at all wanting to show off. And in a crowd, for example, you won't even know there is this. For example, I've I've read some stories about some of the Nobel Prize winners. You won't even know that this Nobel Prize winner is in the crowd. They'll be sitting far at the back, just being content with who they are. They would be the greatest people in the world, but they would not even, expect any kind of any attention on themselves. So Adambitvam is being dishonest and expecting a lot of attention for something what I'm not.
So doing um whatever is best I can do and just leave it.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, correct. And that doing best of who I am is actually more related to manitvam
Manit.
because I am doing something which I am good at, but I'm not doing it for the sake of the society. I'm not expecting anything. There's no demands. Adambitvam, so simple example of Adambitvam, I can say, um, like somebody seeing you walk fast and saying, where are you going? Oh, I'm going to meet my vice chancellor or whatever. I'm just using it because I'm in the university. I'm going to meet no, it's not even meeting the vice chancellor. The vice chancellor wants to meet me.
Oh,
Okay, the vice chancellor wants me because I have so much to offer today. And by the way, I'm so sorry, I'm too busy. I'm always busy. All that thing, that is adambitvam, pretending
Hari
to
Om.
be. Yes, Meena.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Meena.
So, can we say, uh, do the best that your conscience permits? Is that what you're trying to say?
So doing the best what your conscious permits is more amanitvam because you are good at something. uh,
Oh,
Adambitvam is you're not at all good at you are
okay.
what you're supposed, and or Adambitvam is the
Can we say
uh,
showing off? Showing
it
off?
is showing off. It is showing off. So
Okay.
it is being proud. You can say that.
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Right.
So doing your best, but you don't want anybody to notice it or something like
Yeah,
that.
correct. Correct. You
So
can say
Okay.
that is
Oh,
Adambitvam.
yeah.
okay. Got it. Thank you.
Like, of course, I used an extreme example of a Nobel Prize winner, but what I meant to say is a Adambitvam person, a person exhibiting this quality, will be completely inconspicuous in a crowd, has a very, wears simple clothes. I mean, I can think of somebody in this of that character is Vinoba Bhave. I don't know if you've heard this, who Vinoba Bhave was. He was so simple and so pure-hearted, and he wore only pure khadi clothes, and he has done so much amount of work in the society, especially in this area of Maharashtra and all that. Has walked so much. Um, just very, very simple person. It's that simple is Adambitvam. Now, of course, somebody may ask the question, is it really possible to be like that in the society? So you can. be very learned like the Nobel Prize winner, but and at times you may have to, not at times, many times you may have to say, yes, I am this professor, I did win this Nobel Prize. But heart of hearts, he knows that, he's not showing off. He's just stating a fact. So stating a fact is adhambitvam, whereas stating something what you're not is dambitvam. So, just like I said, self worth over there, sometimes we have to say, does that mean that, oh, I have to be completely humble? I don't even say who I am. Let everyone expect, let everyone recognize who I am, you know? So, that is the thing. So,
I want to give
Adambitvam
one
is,
perfect
yeah.
example for Nobel Prize. Our president.
What?
I'm not saying the name.
Perfect. No, correct. Exactly. As of some country, who are some countries, some president, yes.
He wants everybody's Nobel Prize.
I know. I saw the beautiful letter that was written. I don't know if you read that letter which he wrote.
Ah, yes.
So, Adambitvam then is a mental state in which, it's that Dambha is completely not there. That total self glorification, or pretense. Somebody who's trying to pretend is a Dambi. So, that is all not there. So while Manitvam is really, is an expression based on kind of a real achievement and everything, whereas a claim to fame caused by this Dambi thing comes from fabricated accomplishments or fabricated pretense. One who's claiming all these achievements that are not his, but pretends to possess those abilities which they don't have. So, Geeta, thank you for that example. Now, I don't have to say anything actually. I can just stop.
Typical quality. Same.
Very good example, Gita.
On one hand, we have Nobel Prize, who would be the Adambitvam example. Dambitvam example would be the president, yes. You know? And these are extreme examples, but where this is applicable to us is we need to look within ourselves. Was there any time where I was trying to glorify myself in a physical manner? See, manitvam is in the mind, right? Again, when I said manitvam is where I have an exaggerated version of who I think I am, and I expect a lot of things. Whereas in dambitvam is I actually say it out. Okay. For example, I may say, maybe I have only two papers to my credit, two research papers. But I tell somebody, oh, I have the maximum number of papers in this university to my credit. So that is so pretending to be who I am, this one. So, so it applies to so many different things. I apply, I'm just using this as this example here, but um, as a university example, but we can look at this in every way of life. So then, what do you think causes dambitva? Any idea?
Inferiority complex or something.
Insecurity.
Yeah.
Correct. It is a lot of insecurity and inferiority complex, comparison with others, and trying to and
Attraction.
attraction. Yes, all this where I'm not being accepted by society. I then put on a new identity, completely new identity, and then I expect everyone to now start, admiring me and all this. So all because I think that if I do all this, it'll impress others. So that is Dambitvam. Yeah,
Hariom.
yeah.
Yeah. So one of the reasons is could be a selfish motive, where the person wants to get something, uh, position, name, fame,
Mm-hmm.
or
Mm-hmm.
something, and then maybe internally they may know they may not deserve that. So then they start talking high of themselves, and then uh, yeah, and then a bit of a falsification, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that could be one of the reasons.
Correct, correct. You're right. At workplace, you can easily see. In fact, I think this value is probably practiced a lot more in the workplace because you're looking for a quick a shortcut to getting a promotion or anything. So how do I do this? I start to talk about myself, and and this is where sometimes we have to be careful in the sense of many times we are told that if you don't talk about yourself, who's going to talk about you, right? So you start to practice your speaking skills and everything only because you want to show off and be who I'm not. So all these things can be an issue.
But does it mean we are overselling ourselves?
Absolutely,
Right.
absolutely. We are selling ourselves, overselling ourselves. We have to be so careful about it.
Okay.
And again, I come back to the fact that um, in US, in order to boost the child's confidence, we always says we always say, oh, you have to talk about yourself, you have to talk about yourself and everything. But we
Mm.
also have to be careful on how we tell them to talk about themselves when you are stating only the fact of who we are, you know. For example, if a child were to, say at work, at his school or whatever, I'm just saying a lower level, but this applies, of course, from anywhere from um, a, a child to an adult, where my dad is the senior VP of this company and all that. Suppose a child were to say this, only because he's expecting some kind of respect from his peers,
Mm.
it can happen in schools because in schools, for a child to fit
Peer
in,
pressure.
he may end up saying a lot of these things, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
So now, Dambitvam, it brings a lot of tension, right? Um, because at constantly I have to worry about what did I tell this person, what did I tell
Mm.
that person. I have to keep all this in mind, and it is actually lot more tension in the mind than even manitvam. Okay. um, it brings tension because, like I said, not only does he have to remember what he has told different people about himself, but he has to constantly invent excuses in order to keep that dambitvam going. And this is also very addictive because once you get into this rut of somebody really looking up to you because you said a particular lie, now one tends to say more and more of these lies. And pretty soon, we get turned into somebody whom we are completely not, right? So for this reason also, it's a very, very difficult thing. It's a lot more, like I said, a lot more tension. And uh, and especially I think even in the education field, now you have to be even more careful because we discuss about papers, we discuss about discoveries, and I have, of course, come across certain examples where, um I mean, this when I was doing my postdoc, I came across, one story of this girl in a big university where she was trying to fit in and she started to fabricate certain certain results, and she even got a big paper in one of the big journals. But then they later found out that it was all um, she really didn't do that work and everything, and that led to a lot of trouble actually. So dambitvam is really, from that point of view, something to be thought about, that it should not be practiced, of course. So it is actually now going into the spiritual level. So we talked about this at a practical level, how much this dambitvam is a problem, but at the mind level, it is even a greater problem. So, the mind always is looking for these praise all the time, right? So, it by really wanting that praise, I always tend to kind of present myself someone who's better than I am. So this creates an attitude, and this attitude is is the falsehood. Actually, when Auntie was saying, it leads to dishonesty, it is exactly that. It is not just dishonesty to people outside, but from a spiritual level, it is dishonesty for my own self, because this particular mind that has been given to me as a human being, which is meant really to study the Shastras, to study my spirit, to know whom what my spiritual self is, now it is being pulled into this lower levels, into really asking for more and more praise and everything. So when I suffer from this dambitvam at the mind level, I am not accepting myself as who I am. I'm not being honest, but instead I commit myself to an image which is a false image, right? So think about this. Because of this false image, uh, which I have created, this false persona that I've created for myself, I am going further and further away from this knowledge of the truth of who I am. Now, when I've gone further and further away from it, my mind will be having even a greater difficulty in accepting and assimilating this truth of who I am. And there is no way that I'll ever come back to spirituality or truly to Vedanta, you know. So that is the biggest problem for the mind itself. And because of that, what happens is we do not really, I mean, Vedanta is teaching us to really understand who I am, what my true nature is, which is Satchit Ananda. And I need to really accept that aspect of Satchit Ananda, which is it is, infinitude. It is limitless, and it is actually completely full in terms of purnatvam. I'm actually totally full, but I'm looking, because of this dambitvam, for my happiness outside, and that kind of limits my acceptance of who I am. Whereas I must really enjoy a mind which will grant me this acceptance and free me from all these limitations, and free me from this desire for asking for all this praise, right? So, this self acceptance is really what is needed for really being a true Vedantic student. So, to be ready for the study of Vedanta, I should be first accept myself as a sincere student, and I should be able to accept myself as who I am with all its weaknesses, which is important, and of course, its strength also. But and I should be completely free of any kind of condemnation, I would say. Something where I know who I am, but if somebody were to, not praise me or anything, I should not be afraid to accept the criticism. So that acceptance of criticism can happen only when I've accepted myself as who I am. But if I put on a false image which takes me far away from that acceptance, and which really is making me put on this false image, and which is making me reject who my real image is, all this can lead to so much amount of phoniness, so much amount of hypocrisy, all this. So with this kind of a mind, there is just no way that I can really be somebody who would be able to study Vedanta, or even, be devoted to God, surrender to God. I become this very complex person. And in this complexity, I introduce so many other problems which really pushes me away from spirituality, And with this falsity that I've accepted, there is always a lot of tension in myself. In every dealing, everything is a lot of tension. And of course, we know what tension does, causing a lot of stress. It has great impact at the physical level. You can see blood pressures going up and obesity going up, diabetes, because our mind is not there to control at all. So there is no way any kind of Vedanta spirituality or any even a guru cannot help such a person, for because this person has this mind which is really relying so much outside, is craving for that attention, craving for that acceptance from people. So you're right that insecurity, what you said earlier, insecurity and all this is having really an effect here. So any thoughts more on this adambitvam? And is it pretty clear now this uh, what amanitvam is and what adambitvam?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Any examples apart from you can think of what has already been given at the extreme levels, or have you come across any situations where you're faced?
You had explained so much about dambitvam. Adambitvam, you didn't give that many examples.
Oh, okay. So adambitvam is a person
Who is
who,
satisfied with,
no, not only satisfied. See, amanitvam, we said, is a person
yeah.
who knows who that person is, what skills they have.
Right.
Adambitvam is a person who knows what their weaknesses are.
Does he know? That is adambitvam. Okay.
I mean, I'm just saying out of my reflection. I've not really read about this anywhere, but reflecting upon it, uh, now, earlier Jayashree said, Jayashree and Madhuri said Dambitvam comes out of insecurity. Okay, I want to be accepted in society like somebody else who already has, and I don't have that.
So that
You
is
know
an
what? There's a
example for dambitvam. I understood
yes,
that. I want
correct.
an example for adambitvam.
Adabitvam, yes. But I just remembered one story, a beautiful story. And you would have read this, even if you put it on internet, you'll get this. But I just remembered this after 20 years. I'm remembering this. I think I should, I'm feeling good that I'm remembering this actually. So this is a story about how one couple, this guy is a very ordinary accountant in a company, okay? And he's invited for a Christmas party and Christmas party where he has to hobnob with his bosses and everyone. And he and his wife are invited to this party. And so the wife says, "Oh, I'm invited to this party. What do I do? I don't have a proper dress. I don't have a good necklace to wear and all that."
You've said this before.
I'm okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good to recollect.
Good to recollect in the sense in this connection with Adambitvam. So then what does she do? She goes to a friend, and the friend says, "You know what? I have a necklace. I'll give it to you. This is a beautiful diamond necklace." And so she borrows a diamond necklace from this friend. She goes to the party. She has a great time. She dances a lot and everything. And then when she comes back home, and then she's lying on the bed, and her husband looks at her and says, "Where is that necklace that you're wearing?" And she looks at her neck and there's no necklace. And she gets she's so sad and shattered because, this is a diamond necklace. They cannot afford to lose this necklace at all. So then she somehow she goes to the store and then she buys a diamond necklace and then she gives it to the friend. And then for the next 20, 30 years, both she and her husband have to work hard to pay the loan for this necklace. And finally they pay it off. And then one day she happens to come across the same friend. And so the friend says, "What happened to you? Why did you've lost so much of weight, you look so dull, tired, you don't have that spark, all that." So then this girl confesses, saying that, "You know what, we lost the necklace that you had given me, and we worked so hard." So this girl, the friend laughs and she says, "That was a fake necklace that I gave you." So think about how much that Dambitvam value, because of which she had to work so hard and, do all this. So now the Adambitvam, if she had practiced Adambitvam, what would she have done? She would have gone to the same party wearing
without
without the necklace and wearing what she has, and feel very confident as to who she is. One second, one second. Sorry.
Are you in Chennai, Sunitha?
No, somebody who came to clean the place here because it's early
Chennai?
morning.
Chennai?
Huh?
Are you in
No,
Chennai?
no. I'm in Kochi.
Okay.
Kochi. So Adambitvam is, if she had gone to the party with what she has, and she was very confident about this, the simplicity with which she was would have been the thing. Does that explain? Or
Yes.
can you give some actual examples of other Adambitvam people?
You can think about Gandhiji, right? He didn't dress up to go to any of those meetings
That's
with the
right.
British or anyone. He was who he was. He just wore his dhoti and this thing and walked in with all the confidence. So
Right. And that is in UK, right? I think he
yeah,
went to UK and he presented himself with just a dhoti.
uh,
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Yeah.
Okay.
Another example is I heard is Lal Bahadur Shastri.
Uh-huh.
I heard he used to go to Parliament on his bicycle.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In our life, in our day-to-day life, I'm trying to think of some example for Adambitvam.
Maybe Warren
Exactly.
Buffett.
Yeah, Warren Buffett.
But
He's
Absolutely.
living in the old
absolutely.
house, the same house, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
yeah, even
Yes.
Sudha Murthy and those people also that
Right.
eh,
Right. Exactly. No,
yeah, when she talks about her, some of the things that she says are just simply out of the like how can you, with all the money they have and everything, and how grounded and how ordinary she is. So,
uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Very good examples, Usha. So we need to talk about some of these examples. We have to use Mahatma Gandhi and others as role models, and almost, I mean, they're almost like avatars, I think, now, if you think about it. Uh, but in today's world, how can we still live a life of Adambitvam when we are faced with so many challenges to prove ourselves? Right? That's where this value is very much needed, because we are constantly trying to prove ourselves in this rat race world. And that's where Dambitvam becomes, people tend to, exhibit Dambitvam.
Yeah, thanks.
Nina, you're very quiet. Do you have any examples from scriptures?
Yes, that's what I was trying to recollect. Let me give you this example.
Okay.
So, the Sriram Murthy Tyagarajan, the owner of Sriram Finance Company,
Uh-huh.
he lives a very simple life. I mean, he owns almost 2 crores, and absolutely he doesn't show any showness, or there's no arrogance. He lives in a small house, and he drives a Fiat car or Maruti Alto or something. He can afford to, I mean, I mean, he can get a very brand new car and all that, but he's so humble, and he just keeps 20, 30,000 rupees of his earnings and donates everything to the rest. And he doesn't even wear shoes. He just wears flip flop, and he just has 5 to 6 pairs of clothes. I read in something.
Uh-huh.
So his name is Sriram Murthy Tyagarajan, the owner of Sriram Finance Company.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm, mm.
S-
So
s- uh-huh.
recently he donated 6,866 crores to large Sri Ram education fund or something for education for poor children.
Uh-huh.
And he doesn't. If you look at him, he doesn't even you don't know who he is. It's that
Uh-huh.
simple.
Wow.
There are a lot of people like this. Yeah.
Correct. A lot of prominent people too, like I look at, some of these people, like even our, IIT Madras director, Usha, this is Kamakoti, right? Uh, I mean, when I see him, the way he expresses himself, so confidently talking about so many of this changes that he feels the IIT should be doing, and even implementing some changes, that's some form of an adambitvam, because it is coming purely out of confidence, and or maybe in this case it's an amanitvam value. But that's something to think about, where you don't have to prove yourself at all. And I think that phrase is something which is very important to keep, because today we are doing things only to prove ourselves
There
at
are a
work
lot of
situations.
people. There are a lot of people like this who that. I mean, they do
Mhm.
wonders, but we don't even know who they are.
Correct. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. And we never know. Many of this anonymous donations that happens to various organizations. That is all adambitvam.
Mm. Thank you so much. I mean, the explanation was very, very good. I mean, we could understand very clearly about Adamitvan
Yes.
and Ambitvan.
Uh-huh.
Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
as I said, you're welcome. As I said, these values, when you read them in the book, right, it can be very passive. But if we can relate this to daily, where am I going wrong with this value, and how can I correct it? And when I reflect upon that, that's when it has an impact on my spiritual evolution, and also with dealings with people. And that's why in that pyramid, when it says being honest is adambitvam, being honest with myself, being honest with people around me. Yeah. Okay, so these two are the major ones, and the reason for discussion of these two major ones are because we are living in this kind of a false, illusory, we're leading a false, illusory life. What do I mean by that is, we are always living in a world of illusion, thinking that if I do this, I will be accepted by people. That's an illusion. That is mithya. So these two things really are in that category. Next, when we come to ahimsa, you will see it's a very
Krishna, I
powerful
have to
value.
take it.
Not
I
what
have
is
to
that?
take leave. I have to take leave. I have
Yeah,
another
sure, sure,
appointment.
sure. See you. So next week we'll discuss ahimsa and shanti, which is about dealing with people. Okay. Okay, we'll stop here. It's also any other final comments? If not, we'll stop. सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ